have eyeballs? Since when? Want to see your butt? Oh, yeah. What's up, plant boy? You ready for my plant-based diet?
What was a Dryad's favorite social media platform?
I'm grateful sound comes out of my face most days, honestly.
Anybody? You, sir. You, sir. Dryad's favorite social media platform.
Am I in the right place?
It was Vine. It was Vine. Do you get it? It was Vine because she's like a forest. Okay.
Oh, damn. Mr. Ding Dong is here. It's me? Totally. I'll shove food up my ass to taste it. That's fine. Elon Musk with freaking flamethrowers. Sex robots are a big topic. But of course, now that you know, there is a secret special thing. I'm going to have to kill you. Oh no! Oh no!
What's wrong, everybody?
Say your rent is
okay?
late. You might have to litigate. Don't worry. Be happy. Baby, I'm happy. Don't worry.
And this mustache looks fantastic on me. Really, it does.
Give me a phone number when you call me. Make you happy.
Hi, everybody. This is part of our Heroes Among Us series, and I'm here with GrifnMore, otherwise known as Griff. Thank you for joining us, Griff. Absolute pleasure to have you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, before we get started, tell us what your Twitch channel is.
My Twitch channel is GrifnMore with underscores. I'm thinking about taking them off. Mainly I do art streams. I make a lot of Adobe character animator puppets for streamers, animators, commercial work, that sort of thing. And on Sundays, we play Sea of Thieves, Sunday on the Seas.
Oh, nice. Do you play with multiple people?
Oh, we do. We had a full galleon last night. It's always a blast.
Oh, that's
So,
a trip.
yeah.
Now, when you say art stream, there's a ton of different art. What is your specific style?
So this is the weird thing about Twitch. I'm trying to find a balance. I'm working on an animated series. So I do a lot of character design, character development, story development. We do a lot of animating with those characters, compositing them. But finding this balance of like being entertaining and not crushing on a super long project for a long time. I do tend to do a lot of community-based stuff. So I have people who come in who want characters for streaming. Some of that's paid work. Some of it I do just because. There's one individual, Dorak. He streams on Mixer, and he's a veteran who ended up with cancer. And he used to use an animatronic puppet and couldn't do so when going through the chemotherapy. So I actually made him a digital version of his animatronic puppet, which he uses. So
That's pretty cool and pretty clever.
yeah, it was a technical challenge actually to get it working the way his real puppet did. So that was a lot of fun. So I tend to do a lot of stuff like that. We do a lot of community type drawing nights. We're going to start learning Blender together. Yeah, just constantly pushing my own ability to create art, basically.
That's very cool. Now, how did you get into the art? So you've been doing it for a while. Did you start it on Twitch?
Well, art, I got into it since I was a kid. I used to just doodle constantly to the detriment of my grades, actually, a lot of the times. I went to the library. I got like the old books on drawing Hanna-Barbera characters and Disney characters. I used to sit there as a kid. Oh, yeah. I used to draw those. And then somewhere I moved to California. I got into college and I was just studying like theology and philosophy. I'd kind of forgotten about art. And then I started taking figure drawing classes there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I was good at this and I love this. So I continued my education through the Academy of Art in San Francisco, where I got the bachelor's in animation and VFX.
So how long have you been on Twitch?
I think I'm hitting about 8 months now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's starting to work. I feel it's starting to work. I've definitely gathered around some good people that continue to come back and kind of push people my way. And it's a slow process, you know, and
yeah.
I've talked to other streamers about it, and they describe it kind of in tiers. There's this, you know, you're streaming to nobody, then you're at like 8 people, and then you're in the 20s all of a sudden, you know, and it just sort of snowballs, or you lose hope and then the whole thing dies, you know. But I'm not losing hope anytime soon. So
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched your stream, and I definitely see you've got a pretty good solid following of a chunk of people
yeah,
that
they're-
seem to be there pretty frequently. And there's a group of you that all do the animation puppetry. Is that
that's
right?
right. That's right. We have a character streamer Discord, and I just recently talked with Adobe, and I'm trying to arrange with them, like, how can you promote us and we can promote you? And unfortunately, Adobe Character Animator is its own program that's a small subset of the entire Adobe suite. Their team is really small, and they have no money, no access to like Adobe's social department. So we're collectively right now trying to put together a video of our own that's a really well-polished, high production value thing. And we're just going to put it in front of them, like, here, you know, this is ready to go. Do what you want with it. So
Oh, that's clever. Yeah.
yeah. So we are very united as like character streamers as well.
I hope that works, because that's it's a very cool way to present yourself on Twitch. Like, it's a very fun and interesting. It reminds me a little bit, and obviously they're not the same thing, but the stream queens. You know,
yeah.
it's finding a way to present how you really feel about yourself in a really genuine way
Yeah.
that maybe you don't get to do in a normal environment, which is
Absolutely.
it's very cool. And the technology is so much better than what it was a couple of years ago. I got the face rig software from like 3 years ago, which is fun. It's a lot of fun, but the Adobe stuff is definitely better.
You can do more with it, definitely. And a couple points here. One thing that's really awesome about the characters is that for people who are introverts or people who have anxiety, this gives them a shield, right? They can get on Twitch. Nobody can see their face. And it helps you to open up and get out there. The other thing is, as far as face rig and this tech goes, I've been working 15 years as a video game technical animator. And a lot of what I do is that stuff for video games, facial rigging, motion capture. So what I'm trying to do is get in front of that, because I think this is going to really blow up on the internet, where people want to use these avatars. There's a thing called VTubers, where YouTubers are using these avatars as well. And I think that tech is about to go nuts with camera-based full-body motion tracking. And so I kind of want to be there for that. So I could be a full body,
Like,
you know, cartoon character, like right on the screen, acting out in real time. So, yeah.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. Like 2 years ago, I seem to remember TwitchCon or another convention, they were actually doing like the full body mapping camera work, and it was just chunky. It wasn't fluid and smooth enough. But the idea of being able to, like, for me, this isn't something that comes easy to me. So the idea of having my avatar where I'm not judging how it looks, how it feels on it. It's always crisp, clean. It moves well. It can be me.
Yep.
While I get to just be the personality instead of the look. And for somebody with some anxiety, like, that removes a nice barrier of streaming.
It's beautiful. One of our friends, Kasler, he's our sexiest dog on Twitch. He has the same kind of issue. Like, his mother died from mesothelioma, and you know, he was kind of grasping around for a community and ended up on Twitch, and had his own issues with anxiety, and, you know, as far as being in the front of the camera. So, but it's amazing, you know, he gets behind that dog and he's like the most charming person you're ever going to meet. So it's really cool to watch that transformation.
You mentioned that he was, you know, coming from kind of a hard spot and looking for a community. It's amazing to me how many times I've heard that story just in our last month of, you know, I really wanted a community that I fit, that accepted me. Tell me what you love about your community.
I'll give you a little background. So I started out about 1.5 years ago on YouTube, because I wanted to find a way to interact with my children and teach them something I loved. So we started working together a little bit on animation for YouTube. And to be honest with you, what happened is I stumbled across Character Animator as I was looking for something that could do a lot of lip sync for me really quickly. And I realized, holy crap, you can stream with this thing. And that's how I got into Twitch. I fell in love with it because of the people there. And, a lot of times on social media, I feel like I'm just shoving my work in front of people as much as I can. And it's like, it's like throwing it out into the garbage almost. Nobody really cares. Everybody's kind of doing the same thing.
It's almost like being the street artist. Like you're hoping that somebody pays attention to you, but you're also not sure if it's something that they're actually interested in.
Right. And what I found on Twitch is these people are interested. And not only that, I'm interested in what they're doing, right? And so it's a two-way street. It's not like this one-way conversation. So, like I said, like just helping people, building them a puppet, or another person's trying to put together a video game. So I'm helping, with those assets. Or everybody's like, oh, we want to learn Blender. I'm like, well, I'm good at 3D stuff. Let's learn Blender together, And just that whole collaborative environment where we share and people can come in with their problems and I can talk about my problems. And, it's just a home. And as an introvert, as someone who was, kind of bullied as a kid, being able to find that is just amazing. Just amazing.
I'm sorry, you were bullied as a kid. I mean, it's...
Oh, well,
Yeah.
It's one of those things, man. I look back at it and, there might've been a little bitterness for a while, but I realize now that that was part of what drove me, and the fact that I endured that because I thought differently, is sort of a badge of honor for me now that, I made it here. And I kind of look back and I look back at the bullies and I feel bad for them, honestly. It's not that I have any animosity towards them. I mean, it's tough being a kid, and trying to figure out who you are. And, I think bullying happens because these people are establishing an identity and you're presenting something that is counter to that identity they're trying to establish. And so they resist that through violence or through harsh words or whatever that is. But, if you can endure that and push through that and still stay true to who you are, then I think on the other side, there's, the pot of gold, right? Here I am. I make video games for a living. I'm not stuck in that small town. I didn't lose myself in that process.
So the Matrix Guard, we're focusing on all the disease of disconnection, and bullying is one of them. And one of the things that we're really trying to figure out and how to get our hands wrapped around is we firmly believe that both the people being bullied and the bullies themselves need some help.
Yeah.
A lot of people bully from that place of fear, like attack before I get attacked.
Right.
And your way of putting it is excellent. It makes a lot of sense of, they're trying to build an identity and a world. They're trying to put everything in a category, and you don't fit that puzzle. And so it's them pushing back against the conflicting idea.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's a really nice way of putting it. You mentioned that you had kind of a thought process that helped you come through it. So one of the things that we're asking everybody is, what is an obstacle you had, and how did you overcome it? Because like every hero, a hero has their kryptonite. The Batman has his bats. There's something that they need to overcome. What was that thought process that helped you overcome the bullying to where it wasn't something that stuck with you?
Yeah. I mean, I think I got bullied in the first place because I always have kind of, I don't want to sound like I'm flexing or anything weird, but I always feel like I have thought differently. And one of the examples I use is, in high school, we had to paint the windows at Christmas time. Or we didn't have to, we got to. And so I spent a lot of time in the city of Pittsburgh roaming around, And I would see the homeless people at Christmas time freezing out there on the streets while everyone walk around with their shopping bags. And I saw how those people were treated. They were just ignored. And so my mural one year was a homeless person leaning up against a building with like a bottle wrapped in a paper bag while shoppers walked by. So it was like Rudolph, Santa Claus, snowman, homeless person. And this was tough because even my teachers were like, oh, this guy's a drug dealer. This guy's a, whatever slanders things they can come up with. So I had this conflict of, a low self-esteem because no one was there enforcing that what I was thinking was okay, and then, just the fact that I was thinking so differently on so many levels, or at least I was brave enough to express it.
Yeah.
So the way I ended up overcoming bullying, I mean, a bully, the first thing you got to do is just stand up to the bully. And this is hard for someone with low self-esteem. And I think low self-esteem is what gets you into the position of being bullied in the first place. Right. So you have to establish to yourself and to them that you are not someone who can be bullied. And once you do that, it stops like immediately. So then I just had the problem of overcoming my own feelings of inadequacy, of low self-esteem. And honestly, that was just a lot of work. I started studying spirituality. Like I read the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I read the Quran. I read all these texts until I started to get a sense of how insignificant any of that was to begin with, right? Like my current philosophy is based heavily on physics, and my thinking is that I am nothing more than energy traveling through a potentially infinite number of infinite universes at just billions of miles per hour. And from that perspective, when I look at everything else, it's not such a big deal. And I can't be a bad person. I can't, there can't be anything wrong with me, right? We're all the same. So it's kind of weird, but I mean, that's honestly how I dealt with it. And so I just kept putting myself out there and taking those risks. Like I became a bartender and a server. I performed in plays. I got up here on YouTube and Twitch. I just constantly pound on that thing until I don't have any more fear or self-doubt about myself. Yeah.
How do you not go to the well then, the small blue dot, we are insignificant, right. So what's that matter?
Oh man, you just opened up a
whole Pandora's box right there.
Yeah, because I think about this a lot. Let me lay this on you. So one of the things I observed when I kind of came back in contact with the internet was that all the kids are turning into nihilists. Right? They are growing up in a world where they hear our planet's dying, and I could get shot in school, and we're engaged in perpetual war. What's the point? What's the point of going to school? And that terrified me. That terrified me a great deal because I don't think anything matters. I don't think there is morality. However, as a human being, this is all I know. Mm-hmm. And so I've chosen, they call it in Buddhism, they call it the bodhisattva vow. It's someone who has transcended earthly attachments and gone to hang out with the Buddha, but says, no, you know what? I'm just going to come back and I'm going to help all these other people get there too, because it's awesome, right? And so that's kind of how I look at it. Like, since I'm here, the best thing I can do is not fall into that trap of it doesn't matter, but pick a side and say, well, humans matter. Humans matter. And I like to refer to this as, I kind of stole this from Rick and Morty, but I like to refer to this as cosmic absurdism, right? There's cosmic nihilism, where you realize that you're in this infinite universe and nothing matters. But then there's absurdism, where you realize that and you're like, aha, nothing matters. I can do whatever I want. This is fantastic. I'm so liberated now. And so that's part of it too. That gets rid of a lot of the fear. It's like, it doesn't matter. if I go on Twitch and I make an idiot out of myself, it doesn't matter, you know.
A little bit of the Matrix Guard. Another one of our philosophies is that every one of us is a hero. The only question is whether you realize it or not.
Absolutely.
And our tagline is creating unstoppable heroes. And the question is, okay, well, what's an unstoppable hero? And for us, it's someone who tries to make the world a better place consistently. It's the person who climbs the wall and instead of going over, reaches back to help somebody else up, which is the Bodhisattva vow. The chances of us being here, specifically of me being here, of you being here, over the course of events that have happened for 100,000 years are so significantly small. It's literally everything that has happened before today has literally been to bring us to this point.
Absolutely.
So the idea that we could be insignificant doesn't jive with that. Like literally everything, the world, the universe has all conspired to bring us to this point.
Absolutely.
And then
that's the difference between nihilism and absurdism, I think, is nihilism says nothing matters, but the absurdist will look at it and say nothing matters, but it all matters.
Yeah.
Right. It's all super important. Like you're saying, each one of us is a hero. We're each special, so.
Yeah, we're not tied down to, what we should be or what we, are yesterday.
Right.
Because nothing matters. I mean, we can create whatever we want to be from this point forward. And there's something really empowering with that thought and the belief. And very hard about training yourself to stick with it.
Yes. And not letting everything get you down. There's a philosopher, Alan Watts, that I love to listen to. He's an individual who brought Eastern philosophy to the West by translating like Zen texts and sort of disseminating that information in lectures. But he's got a lot of fantastic quotes around this. But one of the things is like, how can you have any sort of aspirations to do anything if you're not in the moment in which everything is happening, right? And I think that's a big part of it for me, is just trying to remain present in this moment, not worrying about was I bullied in the past or who was I, but who am I right now?
So you're talking about your community and how what's really special and unique about your community and the Twitch community is this reciprocity. Mm-hmm. So instead of here I am, let me just show it out there. It's okay, here I am and here you are. And now we create together. Right. It's interesting. That's also what Zeke in our interview, he said that was his special thing about Twitch, is that he literally got to talk to his fans. There was, in a movie, you don't know who watched it. You know some numbers, but you don't know the people.
Right. You can't have Twitch, a conversation about your art, about that movie you made. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. What's an MVP moment you've had while streaming?
That's tough. I mean, for me, I feel like every moment is an opportunity, right? Not just to garner viewers or to have, I love these terms. We use it in the video game business: retention, user retention, that sort of thing. But just an opportunity to be there and to listen. And I mean, just something that happened the other day. There's a girl in Ireland who just out of nowhere was like, "Do you mind if I just tell you something personal?" And I'm like, "No, it's safe here. If anybody, says anything, we'll shut them down." It's like, go ahead. And she's like, I'm 17. I've been battling cancer since I was 11 years old. My leg was amputated, and I'm going through this, second round of chemotherapy right now, and it's really kicking my butt, and I'm kind of scared, and that was tough, man, because since I got on Twitch, I've been really trying to train myself to be a better listener and better at those types of interactions. Like, what does that person need right now?
Yeah.
Why did they say that to me? And I could go off and be like, oh, everything's fine, don't worry, or I could tell them a story about someone else I know who had a hard time. But even just listening to you guys the other day, talk about this stuff, I felt like the best route was just to say, here I am, I'm listening, and it was cool because we got to this point where we were joking again about her leg. Like, I was talking about my friend Jeff. He lost both his legs, and how much fun he has, like, designing and 3D printing, his artificial legs and how they're going to look. And she's like, oh yeah, it's so much fun. Like, at Halloween, I've got a peg leg. I could be a pirate. And, I was like, all right. So, we kind of went through a dark tunnel, and we came back out, and we're doing good now. So
we've been trying to learn. I had some things happen last year that, I couldn't find. I lost my father last year, and how it happened, there wasn't this is how you go through the process. I had some amazing people reach out. I had some people some of my best friends did a less than fantastic job on the reaching out, and they sympathized instead of empathized.
Right. That was it.
And the Brene Brown video is fantastic. If you haven't seen that, it's
I did. That's kind of what I was referencing in my mouth.
Yeah.
My mind.
But I couldn't find anything that said, this is how you handle it. And it really dawned on me that, again, we talk about how we're all the same, but we're all these completely unique individuals. Yeah. I'm a twin. Me and my twin aren't the same. We haven't had the exact same experiences. We don't process information the exact same. So you can almost never tell somebody, hey, I know how you're feeling. It's going to be okay. Like that. Yeah. That doesn't really help. Like having people tell them that's a dime a dozen. I think for me going through that process, I didn't need people to understand what I was going through.
Right.
I needed people to just be there and not even talk to me. Like, even just to know that I wasn't alone and that I didn't have to put on a show was super important to me.
Absolutely. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that just speaks to, like, I can't teach you anything. I can't give you anything. You teach yourself. You give yourself what you need. And there's nothing I can say that's going to help that other than I'm here if you need me,
And the reality is, I mean, you might not even be able to teach them, or I might not be able to teach them what they need to know. Yeah. It's something that they have to learn on their own, and their lesson might be, completely different than something that we'd ever be able to come up with.
Absolutely.
But just having that space is so healing.
Makes me think of my kids. I tell my kids all the time, here's how it's going down. You got two choices. You can learn this the hard way or the easy way. Okay. Easy way is, Dad, he's been here a long time. I can tell you right now, if you do that thing, you're going to get messed up. Okay. Don't do it. And you know what? Every time they do it.
Yep.
They choose their own path. They're like, I got to see this for myself. This guy's crazy, bam, smack into the wall or fall on the ground or whatever it is. And all I can do is be standing there smiling, pick them up. Like, that's what happens. There you go. You're on your way again.
Yep. Yeah. Just be ready to do the Band-Aid at the end.
Yeah. So I think that's the perfect analogy for this, like, for life and how this whole thing works.
Yep. Who was your hero when you were little? And why? Like, what about their story made them inspiring to you?
You might think this is goofy.
I hope it's goofy.
It's a little goofy. So I didn't have a father growing up. My dad was sort of a hit and run dad. Moved back to England. Never met him. I saw a picture and I read a couple letters that he wrote. So this is all I've known of my father. So there's like this chunk of who am I missing, you know? But my mother was there to fill that void. So my mother was definitely one of my big heroes. But it was a TV show, Kung Fu, okay, starring David Carradine, where you know, he was in the monastery and he got the lion and or the tiger and the dragon, you know, on the hot pot, and used to just travel around the Old West with his this is the funny part, with his giant flute. Okay, there you go, right here. Oh no, I messed it up. You know, so he traveled around the West just beating up bad guys, people who were oppressing others and all that good stuff. So he was a huge inspiration for me, actually, and because of him, I studied kung fu and I studied how to play a flute. And I even have a giant hat back there, just like just similar to his. Yeah,
I saw it on your highlight reel.
yeah. So that was kind of it for me, and that was funny enough. That show was the thing that got me to kind of go down that Eastern philosophy path, you know, where I would study Buddhism. Taoism is people ask me, do you have a religion? I'm like, I'm a Taoist.
That's what I tell people.
Yeah, it's easiest, you know.
Yep.
So just, yeah, that's what kind of got me down that path, and also kind of made me a weirdo in school, I guess. But, you know, it all worked out, I think.
What was it about the main character in Kung Fu that you found so engaging? Was it the Eastern philosophies? Was it the Kung Fu in the West? Was it just that he was? Because my memory of the show was that he was. I always remember him wearing like a light colored robe. Is that?
In the monastery, he wore a robe, and then when he went out in the world, he had sort of a Westernish jacket, and just plain pants and boots, and this big brimmed.
He always had the hat.
Yeah, and then his flute was strapped over his back, you know. And I think he was barefoot a lot for some reason. But
maybe that's what stuck with me.
what I liked about him is a couple things. I think one, I was bullied a lot. I got beat up a lot. I got really good at running. And he was peaceful. He was peaceful, yet he could beat up the bullies if he had to, but he didn't if he didn't have to. And the tenets of Shaolin engagement are like this: like, if you're in a confrontation, first thing you do is talk. Like, why are we having this confrontation? Can we resolve this? If that doesn't work, you run away. If they chase you and they catch you and they won't stop, then you disable them, take out their legs, knock them to the ground, knock them out. And then the final straw is if they persist and try to kill you, then you have to eliminate them. And I don't know, that just fit for me, because I was bullied and I was afraid, but yet I was peaceful and incredibly empathetic. And to just see sort of a role model who had achieved this position where they were peaceful and calm and a badass at the same time. I mean, that for me was like, that guy. That's who I want to be, that guy, you know? So.
Yeah, you have the power, but you don't have to show it all the time.
Right. And that's the best part. Right. Since I started taking martial arts, the only fights I've ever been in have been for fun.
Yeah.
I never have to be violent towards anyone.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. So, and I'm not afraid though. I mean, I will go up to the biggest, scariest looking people and be like, hi.
Yeah.
You know, how's it going? I mean, they probably still mess me up pretty bad, but I just don't care anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
it's not such a big thing.
Yeah.
As an adult, what makes a hero?
Greta Thunberg makes a hero.
Damn right.
When I say her name, I start to cry. You know, I'm just like, wow. Sorry, gotta just take a second here.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just like, her passion, man, is like, So there's a lot of conspiracy theory, like she's stooge for Al Gore, which I used to work upstairs from Al Gore, and the dude is not conspiring for anything.
He does not have stooges all over who are.
No, he's just a guy. You know, I think his total net worth is like $500 million, whatever. But like that's a hero to me. Like one of the biggest reasons I got into this is I have been on the internet whining and complaining and shoving it in people's faces. My goodness, look what we're doing to this. And look at the war. Look at, oh, everybody loves this president, but look, he's killed this many people and their children and their, and just deaf ears. And it's not that I don't think people don't care. I like to think of it as from the terms of biology, like homeostasis, right? Your body wants to maintain balance, and so does your mind as part of your body. And so when you're confronted with something big and scary that requires action, you don't even see it. You don't even see it. And so I got into this because I found that one way you can maybe get through is humor. Like South Park did it. Lots of people, George Carlin, he would stand up and tell people truths, but they would be laughing instead of closing their ears. So I decided to use my skills, animation, that kind of thing, to just get out there and try to tell people about stuff in an absurd sort of way. And so, but then you have this girl, with all this going on, this 16-year-old autistic girl stands up in front of Congress, in front of parliaments, in front of the whole world, and shows this immense amount of courage to, just tell people how it is, with no bargaining either. It's just, this is how it is. Yeah. If we don't do something, we're done, and it's like, wow, like if I could be half as brave as her.
I got full goosebumps just with the breakdown of what she's been doing. And it's, her bravery and her, not single-mindedness, but she has a very clear picture of what is important. It's not, well, it's kind of important, but, oh, you don't think it is, so I'm going to back out. It's very much, this is important.
Yeah. It's the most important thing we're talking about right now, if you care about humans. I mean,
yeah. That's a really good hero.
Yeah. I love her. I'd take a bullet for that girl. I hope she doesn't turn out to be a stooge. I was like, dang it, I'm such an idiot.
I got hooked in. Yeah. The question is, so even if you got hooked in, does it matter? Because the cause is right.
Yeah.
And
something's going on. I mean, species are dying at an alarming rate. I mean, the weather is wackadoo.
Yeah.
So so worst case scenario, we're more compassionate, we're more united as a species. We're producing clean, greener energy, less wasteful, less focused on materialistic goods. I mean, it's all a win.
Yeah. I think there's something really nice to be said about not caring if the person, so not needing to know the whole background story. A personal one that I was in the airport with my buddy, and it was our first trip to Ohio. He was in high school. So like us traveling without parents in high school to take him to where he was going to move.
Yeah.
And we're in this airport, and a blind person, a person wearing dark shades, comes up and says, I have these pins. Will you buy this pin for $2? And it goes, tell me I'm blind. I have a hard time making a living. And I immediately was like, yeah, absolutely. Here's $2. Person walked away, and my buddy goes, dude, she wasn't blind. This is just a scam. I was like, well, does it matter? Like, if she is blind, I helped her out, and she's trying to make a living. And if it's a scam, I don't care, because it was an opportunity for me to help somebody with something that I had nice, easy. Like
Yeah, they obviously need help regardless.
yeah, I mean,
they're selling buttons in an airport.
yeah, if they're just doing a good hustle, they're still putting in work to get something.
Yeah.
I'm not hurt by it. I'm out $2 and I was willing to be out $2 either way. One of my favorite possessions I had for a long time was, so I went to school in LA for college, and we had a homeless person that was kind of on the way as you drove out of the school campus area. And they would sell playing cards. So it wasn't a, hi, do you have some money you can give me? It was, can I sell you this playing card? And they would draw on the back of the playing card. And it was such a marvelous, like I adored that person because it was very much, I want to give something back.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I probably spent $20 on playing cards.
Oh, that person in my mind has more honor than any Wall Street banker, because they don't give anything. They just take. And that's the whole game, is how much can I take, And this person at least is, I'm having a rough time. I need help, but damn it, I'm going to work for that help. You know what I mean? I'm not just going to take.
Yeah.
And that's, I got my respect, man.
And there's something beautiful about just giving back to the world what you can. I mean, we're not, even during our lives, what we can give back changes so dramatically from day to day, month to month, week to week, year to year. There's maybe days that we can contribute a ton. Maybe we can do the Bill Gates thing and fund, billions of dollars in cancer research. Great. But if we don't have that capability, I mean, even just doing something as small as, selling, probably a card that they got for free with, 10 minutes of doodle on it.
Yeah.
It's something very cool, very magical, and very real, very authentic. Punch Life Back talks a lot about being authentic.
Absolutely.
And there's a real beauty and touch to that.
I used to, I still play what I call the smile game, right? I think what Nikola Tesla said, you can think of everything in terms of energy. And I think the one contribution you can give constantly is to check yourself. What's my energy right now? Am I open? Am I loving? Am I caring? Or am I ticked off? Am I like, heck with all of this? And so it was my smile test. Is everywhere I go, when I pass by a person, I look at them and I smile. And a friend told me, you're going to get punched like that. But I'll tell you what, 20 years, I've never gotten punched. And the check is like, do they smile back? Can I get in there for just a second? And can I make you see me and make you understand that I see you and make you smile? Because if that happens, there they go. I've taken this energy, might have been like red and kind of, and I've turned into this bright blue kind of nice thing. And there it goes. And there it gets out in the world. And it touches the next person. At the base level, I mean, you can always just do that.
As humans, we can't hold two emotions very well. You can't be angry and smiling happily at the same time. And it's beautiful that our minds don't work that way.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting way of getting out of some funks.
I really do think of I really do, like, physics tells me that we're all energy, we're all vibration, right? And you can look at everything like that. And so my resonance is carrying through to everyone else. And I tell you, what I found on the internet at least is we're all just sitting there waiting and looking, just waiting for someone to notice us, to connect with us. And so you just accept that and you facilitate that. So they don't have to wait. You just go do it. Hi.
It has been an absolute pleasure. Is there anything else? What would you like to tell a new streamer? And what would you like to tell a lurker?
What would I like to tell a new streamer?
A new streamer, as far as to help them out.
One of the things I hit Twitch. I started YouTube with this name Media Resonate because what I wanted to do, I called it that because Resonate Media, the URL was taken. But I wanted to create media that resonated with people, that I was able to, again, send that vibration out into the world and somehow change minds, or, you know, just get a good message out there. But what I found out hitting Twitch is people don't want that. That sounds corporate. You should get a name that is you. And I'm Griff, but I'm more. And I like Harry Potter. So pick a name that represents who you are, because like we've been talking about, it's a very social platform. So do that. And check the reasons why you're there. If you've been watching Ninja and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to play Fortnite and I'm going to make millions being a Twitch streamer, then you're headed for a lot of disappointment, because you're probably not. I mean,
There's one Ninja.
Yeah, statistically, your chances are very, very bad. So I wouldn't do it for that. I would just find, and everybody in every video of what should you do says this, but find your passion and take that out in the world. And people might ignore you for a long time. People might not care, but there are people out there who do care, who are thinking the same way you are and are interested in the same things you are, and you'll find them, you know. But don't expect to plop down and start making your millions, you know, day one. For the lurker on my channel, I would say I'm sorry. I would say I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Come on in. You know, I tend to just talk off the cuff. I tend to keep my things relatively family friendly. I don't tolerate any sort of, as soon as it turns to any ad hominem argument in my chat, like if you are, I'll talk about whatever with you. Politics, sure. Religion, not a problem. I don't have those warnings on my channel, but you come in and you start insulting people based on color, race, and disability, anything, start insulting people, you know, go away. But if you want to come in to a friendly environment and have a nice conversation, then, you know, I won't bite.
I like it. I like it. Now give us your Twitch channel one more time. Give us your YouTube.
Yeah, so GrifnMore pretty much across the board. Twitch has the underscores. I might be changing that soon. YouTube, GrifnMore. Like I said, what I'm trying to do on there, I'm trying to actually get out of the game business and become a full-time puppet maker to the stars. Tutorials on YouTube regarding that stuff. I just want to clear up my time enough that everything I'm making is something that comes from my heart. Because I feel like right now it's so important. And in many ways, I feel very frustrated that I have to go to work every day rather than doing the work I feel like I need to be doing. So any support there, just come by, like videos, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. You can find me on Twitter, GrifnMore, Instagram. I even got on Snapchat. Gary Vee says, get on Snapchat. It's the hot stuff. So I'm like, and I'm like, oh my God, the world needs more help than I thought. I'm like, what's going on here? 700 videos of people who are too young doing things they really shouldn't. I'm an old man. I'm sorry. I'm like, you kids today.
All right. So we got where to find you now. When do you stream?
Right now I'm streaming Tuesdays and Thursday nights from 9 p.m. till about midnight Eastern Central Time. I'm on the East Coast. And then Sundays, 9 p.m. to about midnight. That's the Sea of Thieves stream on Sundays. So, but occasionally I pop up with surprise things if there's just somebody's like, make me a thing. I'm like, all right, I'll come on Monday and make you a thing. Let's do it. All right. Yeah. So.
Well,
That's
perfect. Sir. I thank you so much for taking the time. I absolutely adored it, and we'll be seeing more of you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. Thank you.